All right, I'm recording, so I guess
Okay, thanks, man.
that should work. All right, so what I'm going to do is share the screen. So what's first important is that your HTML is set up to work correctly. So I'm going to create a real quick new HTML file. Let me just do this. One second, I'm just going to create a skeleton file real quick. And then I don't need any of this cool stuff. All right, and then I'm just giving it a title so I know what this is. All right, so first, and then I need to create a new file, and then I'm just gonna call this, this stuff doesn't matter, just, it won't, for some reason they don't save if you don't have anything in them, so at least mine don't sometimes. I gotta save this too.
So what state are you in?
I'm in Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of there's not much going on here.
I actually have some friends there.
Really, what city do they live in?
I don't know. I just know that they live in Kentucky. They just moved there from the Philippines.
Oh, that's cool. How'd they end up in Kentucky of all places?
Their parents bought like a huge house because it's cheaper there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, and then I just gotta get all this set up. Perfect. Now we should be good. All right. So first, what I'm gonna do is we want to create the button that's going to make everything work. All right. So what we want to do is
The one that you click, right?
right. Let's see where I have it here. What's up here? So what I do is just in the body, outside of any div or anything, because you're gonna give it what's called a fixed position. So like it won't be relative to anything, right? So it'll have no parents basically. So what you're gonna do is just create a button, and then it's easiest if you give it an ID. So what I would do is give it an ID of, I just call it fixed button. Actually, they don't want you to camel case. This weird camel case is only for JavaScript, and you're supposed to use dashes for CSS. I don't know why, but
Okay.
that's how it be. All right, and then what I do is I make it a plus, because that's like the expand, right? So that's all I create here. And then I want to create
Can
my
it be an
nav.
image too? Inside the.
It won't be an image now. I just did a little plus mark, and I just customize that to look nice.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then we'll go about how you change that to a minus whenever you open it. It's pretty simple. So it's just some concepts, we haven't gone over yet. So, but it's all pretty simple. All right. Now what we want to do is we want to create a nav. And what I like to do is give this. You could use a class or an ID. I think an ID is easier. So I just do an ID. Hold on, I have like the sun like right in my face, so it's hard to type. I give an ID of collapse. Also, I bought a new keyword yesterday, which is awful to do whenever like you just got familiar to coding on your other keyword.
Yeah, that happened to me. I just got mine like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like typos galore.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
they said it takes you 4 months to get used to it.
Oh gosh. And then what you want to do is well specifically is I just create divs in there for each element I have. So say we have 3 elements, right? I don't know what thing you're doing, but we'll say we have a home element, a about section, and something else, right? Then in there, we want to put anchor tags because the divs are just for styling. And then those
Okay.
anchors could be like, I'll just do what I have over here is a login. And you make these whatever makes most sense for your project.
Oh, that's why my buttons are weird. They're acting weird because I did it differently.
Yeah.
I enclosed my divs inside the anchor tag.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. What that'll do basically is the kind of. I wonder how. So basically, I think that would make them really tiny, because an anchor tag only fits up as much space as it needs. And if you have a div within there, yeah,
Yeah.
might create some issues. And then what we want to do is create like a. I'm just going off what I have over here. So how it works, because this made sense for my project. And then the last anchor tag is and you did desktop first, right? Like you started
Yeah.
with the desktop. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to create an additional class here in the nav and set that class to mobile. And then I would do like only like that.
Okay.
It's gonna make it easier to have all this hidden.
To
And then
find it on CSS, right?
right. And then what we're gonna do is yeah, I would give that to your button as well, because this stuff is only gonna happen if you're in the mobile view. Otherwise, it's gonna use your default stylings.
Got it. Okay.
And then in CSS, I would just immediately go in here and put because you're desktop only, do mobile dash dot make the class of mobile only display none. That way it doesn't appear. And then what I would do is whenever you go to your max width stylings,
Okay.
that's where rule. That's where everything else kind of matters.
So just display block, right?
No. Well, we'll probably do flex is what we'll do over there, but
Oh, okay.
it doesn't exactly matter right now. Let me think. Specifically. I had to just make sure. I had to think about the right way to do this. I think it's going the same way, just a little extra.
Is it easier to
Yeah, that's what I
start
thought.
the design on mobile?
Kind
Like
of.
mobile first?
The only reason being because I want to go and actually I don't think it'd be that hard to fix it. You just kind of take everything that you've already had. I wouldn't worry about it. We'll figure out how to do it this way. It's no big deal. I'll just learn something along the way as well. And then what we'll do is I've been using min width, so I have to I gotta get familiar with doing a max width. Yeah, we want to do it like that. That should be good. And then make sure you have the viewport tag if you didn't already.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise the styling's all weird.
And it's not gonna work. Like the media queries is not gonna work.
Right. The thing is, they still work, but basically it goes off a different number. So this basically makes it all normalized across all platforms.
Oh, okay.
Without it, it would be off the actual pixel width. This turns it into a viewport width, so it's a little different. That's why, like iPhones, like their real resolution is like 900 pixels, but their what's called view width is like 500. Actually, I think it's more like 330. Okay.
Yeah.
It just normalizes it all. And then what you want to do here is we want to go in here and do dot mobile only, and then honestly want to keep it display none because we don't want it to show unless we click that button, because otherwise we have a really noisy nav always popping up.
That's a trippy wallpaper.
Oh yeah. And then let me make sure. I want to make sure we're not missing anything before we get into the JavaScript. Yeah, so as long as you have this, you should be good. And then we can move on to the JavaScript. So I'll actually go ahead and open this in live server so we can kind of see what it looks like. Actually, hold on, we gotta do some styling first. So now we want to go to our styling. And then for the nav button, or what I call it here, I think I called it, yeah, I called it fixed button.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we want to do is a fixed button. Did I put a space in it? No, I had to put dash. Fixed button, and then you want to give it a position of fixed. Because if you see the way that I do mine, hold on, let me show you real quick, just so you understand kind of how it's going to look. Oh, I don't have any of my extensions. 1 second. I had to reset my computer yesterday because I was going to trade it back for this guy who I traded my laptop, but then he just ghosted me. So I just, I was like, oh, I was like, that's fun. Live server. Let's try to think. So I already had everything reset, and now if he texts me today, he's just out of luck because I'm not resetting this computer again, only for him to change his mind again. All right. All right. So what I did, if you look,
You misspelled position, by the way.
Oh, okay, I'll fix it. Because like, say you're at the bottom, right? You still want to be able to access the nav. So what I do is I have it fixed on the screen, so even down here, you could still open it. So that's why we're giving it a fixed position.
Oh, okay, it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want.
Yep. So what we want to do is a fixed position. And then
Next.
missing an I in there. There we go. We want to do a fixed position, and then if you went in the same position I have mine, that's going to be top 10 pixels and then right 10 pixels. That just means it's 10 pixels from the top and then 10 pixels from the right.
Got it.
And then make your font size. I did on mine. I don't have this in rims, but if you have yours in rims, it'd be 2.3 rims. And then the padding was somewhat important because it makes it round. So you could convert all this to rims if you have it to rims. So it'd be 0.5 and then 2.3 for the font size.
Okay.
And then, you know, you can make it whatever color you want. We'll just say color red. And then I did a border so it stuck out a little. And then I made mine round, so I did a border radius as well. And then I did a padding right and a padding left because otherwise it looks kind of weird of 10 pixels. Because what this does is basically because best way I can explain it, a plus icon has kind of weird dimensions. It's the way that it's treated is it's taller than it is shorter, so it doesn't look exactly round unless you have more stuff on the width.
Okay.
And then this is just the exact same things I put. This just gives it a better look, I thought. And then this one's important. You want to get a z-index of like higher than the one we'll use later. So just make it 100 for now. It doesn't really matter what that number
What is
is.
that?
So the z-index is, okay, so if you think of your x and your y-axis, right? That's
Okay.
your top to down and then your left to right. The z-axis is kind of your front to back. So if something has a higher z-index, it's going to be in front of a page than something with a lower z-index.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yep. So it's really important for things that you kind of want to always show. You'll see why, because basically this z-index here
So
is going to
it's
be
like
higher,
100 layers in front,
right?
something like that. Okay.
It doesn't really, like, this number could be 2 and have the same importance, but because everything by default has a 0, but giving it 100 just kind of makes sure you don't overwrite it.
Oh, okay.
Because this is what we want to be in the frontmost. All right, now if we open this with live server.
This is amazing. That's the first time I've heard of z-index.
Yeah, there's like an odd amount of things we didn't go over at all that like I thought were quite important. Oh, I need to open this in a folder. Like
So
we
you've
didn't.
been doing this before Lambda?
Yeah, so I started with the Odin project, which is like this it's kind of like a teach yourself kind of thing.
Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and we have it's yeah. I need to I'm gonna change this to Flex real quick just so I can show you. Yeah, so that's basically what we want. See this button?
Yeah. That's
And
pretty
then
cool.
this stuff is obviously kind of messy, but it's because we don't have styling on the div yet. Now what we want to do, and actually I'm gonna put this into mobile view so it looks nicer. Maybe. Oh, I know the problem. Hold on. this took effect. There we go. There we go. So it looks like that currently. It's a little not right, but
Okay.
oh, I know why. I know exactly why. We also want to add in here text align and then center. Oh, not clear. Center. Center. Oh, I see what happened there. There we go. Well,
That should be okay.
it'll work itself out. It's fine. Okay, and then what we want to do is the collapse. So the collapse is a little more complicated because you want to position it correctly. Let's see. Yeah, I had a lot of styling for this. So what I'm going to do is just do this.
Did you use less, by the way, on this project?
I did, yeah. So I'm trying to like read less and convert it into regular CSS. So I gave it an ID of collapse. And then you want to start here. I want to show you non-mobile only, and then we'll convert it to.
Yeah, sure, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Yeah. We're gonna set this to display, and then I'm gonna do flex first, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna toggle it backward. So where you see flex in mine, make it none in yours.
Okay.
It'll make sense when you see the JavaScript portion. All right, and then I put mine in the column. You know, how you align your items is up to you, but I just did this. That looks. There we go. There we go. Okay, and then again, this is important. You're doing position fixed. That way, no matter where you're at on the screen, it appears on top of everything. All right.
Okay.
Then what you want to do is, we'll just do background color, and then I'm just gonna make it like really stand out. That way you can see what it looks like. And then these are important as well. We're doing top 0 and then left 0. That's gonna make sure it's perfectly aligned with everything. Basically that puts in the very corner and then goes all the way, like kind of fills the page. Same with these are
Okay.
important. With 100%. And then height 100%.
Oh, so it covers the entire screen.
Yep. And then this is as important as well. We want to do a Z index. And remember how I made the other one 100? We're gonna make this one 99. That way it's like right below it. That way this will be on top of this always.
Got it.
All right. So now if I save that and we go back, look at that. So now if I have stuff in here, just we'll say in the body, if I have like a div and then we have a paragraph in there and it says, hello,
It's not gonna show up yet.
I'm hidden. So great, it's not going to show here unless I take this and then make this none. Now if I do that, it's right here. So now we got to add the event to this button that makes it open. Right? So this is kind of where all your content would be. So basically, you know, on my project, this where it says hello, I'm hidden is all of this.
Okay.
And then that little nav we created is what's going to show whenever you click this button. So it's really simple to do, but it does take some JavaScript. So I'll have to explain some concepts we didn't go over real quick, but they're all quite simple. Let me see where it has. The only downside to copying and pasting a HTML skeleton is you don't know where people put their stuff. All right, he puts in JavaScript. All right, and then I'm just gonna create a new folder real quick. And then you'll want to make sure to what am I saying? All right, I added a JavaScript folder here, and then you want to make sure to link it. So what you'll do is just script source JS JavaScript.js.
Okay.
And then we'll just name this script.js. And then we can do the fun part. So we're gonna go over two concepts. I'm gonna comment it. This is gonna be called a DOM selector. And then we're gonna have what's called an event listener. All right, both of these are very important, but they're very simple. So all a DOM selector is something that tells your JavaScript, hey, this is the part of the HTML that I want to select to do something to, right?
Okay.
So we're going to create a variable. It could be let or const. I use let for everything. I think that's bad practice, but you know, sue me, I guess. You can name it whatever you want. For me, I'm doing a nav button. Then what we're going to do is document. So this is your entire document. Dot get element by ID, and then we called it what did I call it? Fixed button.
Fixed button. Yeah.
And then you just want to make sure to put that in quotes because this is basically the ID it's going to search for.
Okay.
All right, and then you want to do the same thing with the collapsible. So let collapse equal document dot get element by ID, and then I think I called it collapse. Yeah. Perfect. So now we have both of those things selected. So now we could mess with these in our JavaScript.
Okay.
All right, so what I did, there's multiple ways to do this. This is a really lazy way, is we had to create a switch to know which position we're in. So I'm going to call it flip. I want to make it 0. It's important that this is global, kinda. Yeah, it's important that this is global currently.
Okay.
So just make a global variable for flip, or you could call it switch, or anything that lets you know what it is. Now what we want to do is we want to create a function called collapse. Actually, I would call it collapsable. That way you don't have two of the same names.
Right.
And then what we want to do is flip wait, there we go. If flip equals 0, so basically if it's in its default position, so like the script just ran, right?
Okay.
We want the collapsible, and then dot style, which basically just means it's going to be a CSS style that we're messing with.
Okay.
And then we're messing with the display style. And then we want to turn it into a flex. Actually, in my case, I'm going to make it none, but in your case, make it a flex because I already have it as flex.
Okay.
All right. And then what I like to do is make the nav button dot text content. So this is just basically what is inside of the, like what the text inside of it is. And I turn it into a minus.
Okay.
That way it looks like whenever you expand it, it changes.
Okay.
And
You could do an X too, so like it turns sort of.
Exactly. The reason I chose minus, I did X on my first one, is the X is like a weird dimension where if you add padding, it's fine, but you had to kind of like mess around with it because the X is larger than a plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I tried to create this animation where an X, where I rotated whenever you clicked it, the plus rotated into an X, and that only somewhat worked because buttons don't really have animation. I could have made it a span and did stuff like that, but that doesn't matter. All right. And then basically we just want to create a toggle that's the opposite. So what I'm going to do is just copy and paste both of these and then put them here. Because basically if this flip, oh wait, and then we need to turn this in flip equals 1. Basically just turning, like, basically it's a switch, right? Whenever it equals 0 and it's clicked, we're basically going to turn it into 1 and then we're going to change this content.
Okay.
And then we want to change this to a flex. So whenever it's switched, it turns into flex. You'll want to use none here. And then turn back into a plus. That way things don't get all wonky. And then you want your flip to equal 0 again. That way it works again. And then you could use this function over and over and over and over and over.
Okay.
All right, now we got to add an event listener. So an event listener is really simple. All it is basically something that an item looks for. So we want to put the event listener on the button, right? We want to add event listener. And then the event that we're listening for is click. And then whenever it clicks, we want to run a nameless function. And in that nameless function, we want to put the function we created. Like that.
Okay.
And the reason that we put this nameless function here, because if we did it without, it would immediately call this function whenever we start the program. So it toggles it weirdly. You just want to make sure you have this, because it runs a function that runs the function, if that makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
So
And then we
it's
save
basically a callback.
Exactly.
Not really. Yeah. Okay.
And then we save that, and then I guarantee you, I just have a typo. Let's see where it is. And it's cool because you'll actually see the class change. And actually, I think I know what the problem is. Actually, I know exactly what the problem is. It's this. the mobile only is a problem. Here, I'll make sure I know how to fix that, and then we'll fix it real quick. Make sure. Oh, and then I know the other problem as well. Hold on. Display 9. Make sure I saved everything.
Oh, it's centered now.
Let's make always bug testing, right? Let's see if I had to guess. Oh, I see exactly what happened. These should be collapsed, not collapsible.
Oh, okay.
There we go. See, now I'm just like Pace. Right, and look at that.
Looks cool, man.
Now, because you did yours mobile only, let me see if I can find real quick how to change only the media query part. I think it's just basically just adding the sub tag to it.
But yeah, this is amazing. I get it now.
Let's see. Okay, so apparently it's not exactly complicated, but it's complicated enough to where people did. It's complicated enough to where people did create libraries to fix how complicated it was. Let's see.
That's the only part missing on my tablet and mobile view.
Was the nav?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to make sure you could that way you don't have to switch everything. And you'll see real quick how it works. Basically, it changes the DOM part of it. So like, see how like the class
Oh, that's
actually
pretty cool.
changes. So it's pretty cool. And then of course you just put these as your anchor tags or whatever else you had in them. Yeah, I want to make sure you, because I don't want you to have to like rewrite it.
No, it's fine. Oh, but this is amazing. I understand how it works now.
Yeah, the possibilities of DOM manipulation are quite fun. Just to show you something real quick that I did. Actually, I only got on Netlify. Actually, I did on GitHub. It's annoying. I backed up my school folder whenever I reset, but I forgot to back up like my personal projects folder. But they're all in GitHub, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just annoying.
Okay. I use OneDrive and Google Drive, so all my files are there, just in case something bad happens to my computer.
Yeah, I created this with DOM manipulation, but it's really dumb. It's tic-tac-toe, but the computer's really dumb, so it lets you in like every time.
How did you do that? Like,
it's pretty easy. So it's just DOM manipulation.
But how did you instruct the computer to play with you?
So all it is basically is I know I just saw it. There it is. Where's the HTML? There we go. All it is right here. It's in here. Yeah, so all the computer does is it takes a random part of the array. So I have an array with every position.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then I update basically each part of that array is a div, and I update. So you'll see there's a lot of selectors in here. So Yeah, I have a lot of fun with coding, just like in general. So, uh, so these are all the buttons that you could click, all the divs. They're all the event listeners, and basically it sees. If you look here, whenever I started it up, um, see you can actually pick which game mode you play. So if you do player versus player, it's actually like you control both of them.
Oh,
Or
that's
if you do
amazing.
player versus computer, it but the computer's really dumb. I need to, I I kind of want to make it smarter, but I think the only way to like make it smarter that would be easier is to look at the algorithm that always wins, and then just make a computer that always wins. Um, yeah, cause I think it's impossible to lose this to this computer.
This is amazing, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely. Yeah, but if you have any questions about the navigation or anything, just let me know, and I'll we could get on Zoom and I could like work you through it. Uh,
Yeah, well, this is like, thank you for this, man.
no problem. And then I'll see how this whole recording thing works, and I'll find a way to get it to you in case you need to look back at it.
Wonderful.
I like how this is
Yeah, no.
centered now. I don't know what did that. I guess I didn't save it properly whenever I did text line center. Yeah, but it's centered now. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yep. Which project are you doing?
I'm doing the CoMake project.
Which one's that one?
It's like Nextdoor. Are you familiar with that app? So it like if you have a complaint about your neighborhood, you can start a conversation about it. Uh,
Oh, that's awful. I never want to know what my neighbors think about how bad I am.
no, I mean like in your community, let's say the roads or you know,
Oh, I get what you're
or
saying
the
now.
stoplight is broken or something like that. You can start a conversation about it.
Yeah, I don't live in a like what the best way I could say it is a um what nice enough neighborhood for people to care to care about how the other people feel. Like there's this Facebook group because I live off this really, it's not really popular, but it's a really old highway that's been here forever. So
Okay.
there's this Facebook group dedicated to living near it. It's called I Am Dixie Highway. Uh, and like all people do is they're like, I saw this drug guy at the store today. Watch out, he might ask you for money, or like oh, someone stole my package, and all it is
Yeah.
complaining.
Well,
So
we have that because I'm on Nextdoor, that actual app. So
yeah.
my neighbors are just like that too. They're like, there's some homeless
what,
lady walking around stealing mail or something like that.
yeah. What state do you live in?
I'm in California.
Well,
I'm
that's a
in,
great
yeah.
place to learn tech.
Uh, well, I'm in LA, so I'm
uh,
not in San Francisco. But yeah, I mean, it's a
I
cool
feel very
place.
ignorant because like I know LA and San Francisco are like completely different places, but like in my head, like I just think like they're identical.
Oh, they're like 8 hour drive apart. So
That's funny.
I
Yeah.
did that 3 times, and
Oh
I
god,
wouldn't
California is
suggest that.
huge. Here, like
Yeah,
the
it is.
furthest you could go is like a 3 hour drive. To still be in
Oh,
Kentucky.
from like end to end of Kentucky.
Yeah. I mean, I guess end to end would be a little longer than that because you have to go through the mountains. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, it depends on
But
which
like
way
the
you go.
general area is just like a 3 hour drive.
Yeah, and like all of Kentucky, except for two cities, Lexington and Louisville, are just like the worst places you never want to go. Like I went to pick up something from East Kentucky, and like there's roads there that like aren't divided, don't have signs, no speed limit, like it's very rural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Louisville is very much uh, Louisville is like a worse Chicago. I would say it's more of like a worse Indianapolis. It's very tiny. I mean, it's not tiny. It's just very like nothing happens here except for police brutality, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Did you hear? You know how like all that protest and everything's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, Breonna Taylor lived
Oh,
here.
that's in
So
Kentucky. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, in Louisville. So the protests here have been very significant. Yep.
Wow, that must be crazy, man. Because
Yeah.
here in LA, they're like burning like stores and stuff.
Yeah, the first couple nights there were a lot of raids and a lot of looting and stuff, but it's kind of died down. People have short attention spans, unfortunately. So
Yeah, that's true. They recently painted one of the streets, I think that was in Hollywood. They painted the entire street Black Lives Matter.
that's a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna get off here and go to work. But if you have any questions,
All right, man.
just
I'll
ask me on
share you
Slack.
what my design is. So I got like
Oh yeah, here. If you
too
want, you could go ahead and show
ambitious.
me real quick.
Oh, sure. Uh, oh, it's disabled. So,
Oh,
oh, thank you for the
okay.
I
There
don't
we go.
know.
Now it's enabled.
Oh, there you go.